Welcome to the epic guide to MotionCam Pro version 5, the most powerful professional video app on mobile. By harnessing raw video capture, it bypasses conventional mobile processing to deliver results that rival and often surpass traditional camera systems. My name's Elliot. In this beginner's guide, you'll learn everything you need to start capturing and grading stunning raw video with MotionCam Pro. Use the chapters in the player to jump to any section, but if you're brand new, I recommend watching from the start. If you want to follow along as well as test how MotionCam Pro performs on your device, there is a free trial version linked in the pinned comment. It's fully functional with a 5-second record limit. This guide gets you up and running quickly, so it won't cover everything this app is capable of. For a deeper dive, check the official user manual and join the MotionCam Discord, both linked in the pinned comment. Thanks to MotionCam for sponsoring this tutorial. Now let's dive in. Before we learn how to master MotionCam Pro, it's important to understand exactly what it is and how it differs from every other smartphone video app. Most camera apps, including your phone's native app and third-party apps like Blackmagic Camera, receive a heavily processed YUV image stream. HDR frame stacking, aggressive noise reduction, digital over-sharpening, electronic stabilization, and the final look have all been baked into your video and can't be reversed. This processing is your manufacturer's interpretation of what a good image looks like, not yours. MotionCam Pro bypasses all of that by keeping the raw sensor stream open and saving every frame of uncompressed sensor data into its proprietary MCRAW format. This delivers your sensor's full potential with no artificial sharpening, no noise reduction, and zero AI slop ruining your image. The trade-offs are a more intensive capture experience pushing your device harder than any other video apps, much larger file sizes, and footage that needs some love to arrive at your final look, but in exchange you get complete control over your image and video quality that's in a league of its own. Just look at MotionCam Pro compared to the Blackmagic Camera app. Both captured on the same device, it isn't even close. MotionCam Pro offers 2 recording modes for video, and in this tutorial you'll learn to master them both. First is the raw video mode. This records to .MCRAW, a compressed lossless RAW format. These files can then be exported to H.264, HEVC, APV, ProRes, or DNG directly from within the app, or converted to Cinema DNG via the free desktop companion app MotionCam Tools for use with NLEs like DaVinci Resolve on Mac and Windows. MCRAW is the ultimate video format and gives you the greatest flexibility in post. You can even restore clipped highlights for unbelievable dynamic range. The second mode you'll learn to use in this guide is Direct Log. Direct Log uses the same raw stream but transcodes it on the fly into an edit-ready format like HEVC, APV, or ProRes, and in the log curve and color space of your choice. Files are smaller and immediately ready to edit. The trade-off? Because MotionCam Pro performs raw capture and real-time transcoding simultaneously, Direct Log is actually more processor intensive than raw video mode. As a result, older or mid-range devices may struggle. Now you know what MotionCam Pro is and what makes it so unique. Let's dive in and learn how to use it after first launch, starting in raw video mode where we will cover the app's core focus, exposure, and white balance controls, before moving to Direct Log where the same techniques apply. After a clean install, MotionCam Pro opens in photo mode. To switch to raw video, tap the mode selector in the lower left and choose raw video. By default, focus and exposure are automatic. Tap record to capture your first raw clip, then tap again to stop. Tap manage videos, and because this is our first time using the app, we need to grant it permission to access the default save directory. Tap grant access, use this folder, allow. I can now tap the clip I just recorded to play it back, then swipe right to left to return to the library, and once again to return to the camera. Congratulations, you've just recorded your first raw clip. Now, let's learn how to configure MotionCam Pro to get the best results possible. In the lower left of the camera interface, you'll find pickers for lens, resolution, and frame rate. Tap Lens to see all lenses exposed by the Camera 2 API. On my S26 Ultra, I can quickly switch between the ultra-wide 14mm, main 24mm, and the 117mm super telephoto lenses just by tapping them. If a lens on your device isn't showing, don't worry. It probably means it just isn't being reported correctly as being available to MotionCam Pro. There's a dedicated chapter in the player on how to find and test hidden lenses. Next, let's look at resolution. It defaults to 4K UHD 3840 by 2160. If we tap it, we can choose another resolution, for example full sensor, more commonly known as open gate, which captures the sensor's full width and height, typically around 4080 by 3060 on a standard 12 megapixel RAW stream, which gives us more flexibility for reframing in post. With full sensor selected, I'll tap outside to close. Next, let's select our frame rate. By default, it's set to 30 FPS. Tap the picker. The available frame rates are device specific, so what's available on my phone might not be available on yours. Again, don't worry if you need a frame rate that isn't listed here, for example 25 FPS, because like lenses, not all frame rates are exposed by default, but may still be available. There is a dedicated chapter on how to access additional frame rates in the player. I'll choose 24 FPS. Next, tap the spanner icon. Here we get quick access to 3 essential settings. First is the ability to toggle optical image stabilization on or off for the selected lens. If this is your first time using the app, I recommend you turn this on. Second, we can force maximum display brightness, which can be helpful when filming outdoors in bright conditions. And third, and most important, we can show or hide the histogram. And you want to make sure this is on. It's absolutely essential for accurate exposure in MotionCam Pro. Immediately next to the spanner icon is the direct preview selector, arguably the most important toggle in this app. By default, we are using the Android preview, a fully tone map display preview with boosted contrast and saturation. It looks great, but it isn't accurate and does not reflect what MotionCam is actually capturing. Tap to enable direct preview, and now we get an accurate real-time representation of the raw sensor output in a transfer function and tone mapping of our choice. By default, we are previewing our raw stream in Rec 709 with ACES tone mapping enabled. But if you swipe in from the right side of the screen, you reveal the Quick Adjust panel, and it's here we can change the preview output. For a direct preview that's easy to see even in bright conditions, I like to use Rec 2020 HDR as the transfer function, with tone mapping set to off. Then I apply a +3 gain boost. None of these settings will affect the final DNG RAW frames, they only affect the preview and are non-destructive. And thanks to Raghu Saucy over on the MotionCam Discord for sharing this tip with me. He is the author of the official user manual, which is seriously the greatest user manual of all time, so once you've mastered the basics here, make sure you download it from the pinned comment. Now we can swipe to close the Quick Adjust panel, and if I toggle the direct preview on and off, the difference is obvious. With MotionCam Pro configured correctly, let's learn how to set our focus, exposure and white balance, all of which support both auto and manual modes. The shutter, ISO, focus and white balance values displayed in white indicate that each shooting parameter is currently in auto mode. White equals automatic, which is why they fluctuate as the scene changes. You can tap anywhere in the frame to set a new point of interest to sample from. And the focus and exposure reticles can be adjusted independently of one another. If you want to return to full auto, just tap the reset button here. To lock an automatic value, long press and hold any of the shooting parameters, exposure, focus, or temp, until it turns yellow to lock it. Yellow equals locked. For any locked parameter, just long press it again to unlock it, it will return to white. And to reset all locked parameters at once in a single tap, just press the reset icon to return to full auto. And the EV slider here lets you stay in auto exposure while applying a positive or negative offset. Useful if your device consistently over or underexposes. Again, we can tap the reset button to remove the EV offset. While autofocus and tap to focus can do a decent job, for best results you will often want to use manual focus. Tap the focus button to open the manual focus slider. The preview desaturates and focus peaking activates, highlighting in focus areas with a green outline. Use the left-hand panel to select low, medium or high peaking sensitivity. Once you have set your focus, tap the focus button again to close the slider and return to the normal preview. If you ever want to quickly revert from manual focus to auto, long press on focus. And if the manual focus slider is open, you can tap auto at the bottom to return to autofocus. Next, let's learn how to manually expose our shot using both shutter speed and ISO. Start by tapping on ISO to open the manual ISO control. As soon as we reveal an exposure control, the sensing clipper overlay activates automatically, turning the image to grayscale and highlighting areas where channel clipping is occurring, which can result in complete data loss. It will respond dynamically as we adjust the ISO slider. Green indicates that one channel is clipping. Typically, this information can be easily restored later from the other two unclipped channels. Yellow indicates that two channels are clipping, and the checker pattern alerts you to the fact that all three channels have clipped. The histogram also reflects this in real time with its RGB clipping indicators. When it comes to ISO, lower is usually better and can help minimize noise. Next, let's set our shutter speed. For shutter speed, a common starting point is 1/48 for 24 fps, often referred to as the 180-degree shutter rule, as it will result in pleasing motion blur. We can then switch back to ISO and refine until exposure looks good, with any clipping limited to a single channel only. When we close an exposure control, the sensor clipping overlay is disabled. If you don't want sensor clipping to automatically be enabled every time you adjust a manual exposure control, open Settings and under General, scroll down and disable Auto Exposure Clipping here. You can also do the same for focus peaking. However, I find both tools invaluable and prefer to leave them enabled. Lastly, let's set our white balance. Tap the white balance value to access manual temperature and tint controls. Temperature adjusts the yellow to blue axis, tint adjusts the green to magenta axis. For a quick and accurate result, set white balance to auto, hold a white or grey card to fill as much of the frame as possible, then long press to lock your white balance. But we can make this process even easier. I recommend you open Settings, General, scroll down and enable Lock White Balance on Record. Now we just need to fill the frame with a white balance card and hit record, and it's automatically locked. When I end a recording, it reverts to being unlocked automatically. With our focus, exposure and white balance all dialed in, let's start a recording by tapping the record button. During capture, an on-screen overlay displays key stats like memory usage, file size, and a drop frame indicator. Watch this closely during capture, and all the camera controls we just covered remain accessible and can be adjusted on the fly. This includes focus, exposure, white balance, and the ability to quickly switch between auto and manual modes. Now I'll tap to end my recording. To play back a raw recording, tap Manage Videos. Clips are listed newest first with date and time in the file name. For each clip, you'll also see the total frames captured and, in brackets, how many frames were dropped, if any. Tap a clip to play it. Tap Pause to enable access to the sensor clipping and false color overlays for exposure review. We can also drag the playhead to scrub through a clip. If any drop frames occurred during recording, you will see red marks on the progress bar to indicate exactly where they occurred during the capture, which is really useful for identifying whether they occurred during the section of the clip you actually need or outside it. Now I'll show you how to export your .MCRAW clips on device so they are ready for editing. Tap Edit Video beneath a clip. The default export color space is Rec 709, delivering a ready-to-share image with good contrast and saturation. Swipe right to left to reveal advanced imaging style controls for exposure, tone, detail, LUTs, white balance, tone mapping, and even highlight reconstruction. Make any adjustments to the look of your clip with these tools if needed. Next, tap Export to choose your export codec, output color space, and transfer function. For codec, I'll choose HEVC, however you have many popular codecs to choose from. Next, I'll choose the transfer function. Options include popular log profiles like Sony S-Log, Arri-Log-C, and Apple Log, so your footage can be easily graded with any compatible LUT. But for now, I'll revert to the default of BT709 for export. then tap Add to Queue. We can tap on the task queue to monitor our render progress. Once complete, tap Open to watch your rendered clip. Rendered files are saved to Documents, MotionCam by default, but you can change the default save location by tapping on Videos, then tap on Set Render Folder to specify a new save location for exported clips. Regardless of your chosen save location, your rendered videos are ready to import for further editing and grading in your favorite editing apps on Android. And one of my favorite apps for processing MotionCam Pro video on Android is Unmcrawsome, an app built by the legendary John the Farmer, which is available to download through the MotionCam Discord linked in the pinned comment. Unmcrawsome offers native .MCRAW and DirectLog format support, with comprehensive features like clip trimming, color space and transfer function selection, grading tools, effects, and LUT support, making this the best Android app for quickly processing your MotionCam Pro videos on a clip-by-clip basis. Now I'll show you how to import your MotionCam video from your Android device onto your computer. On Windows, your Android is automatically accessible via the File Explorer. Select your device, then navigate to Documents, MotionCam Pro on your phone, and copy your MCRAW files over to your PC. If you're on a Mac, you will need to use the free open source app OpenMTP to import your media. Navigate to the same directory under Documents, MotionCam Pro, and drag your files over to a directory on your Mac. With your videos imported, you are now ready to explore raw workflows on Mac and Windows using MotionCam Tools, the free desktop companion app from the makers of MotionCam Pro, which is linked in the pinned comment. MotionCam Tools will mount any imported MCRAW files as DNGs under the Mount folder, which can be specified under Settings. These can then be instantly imported into any NLE with support for Cinema DNG. MotionCam Tools also provides incredibly powerful features like the ability to interpret your MotionCam RAW video as Blackmagic Film or Panasonic Vlog, which gives you even more control via Resolve's Camera Raw tools. I'll set the camera model override to Blackmagic now, and we will revisit this in a moment when I show you how to grade your video in DaVinci Resolve. MotionCam's RAW workflow is simple. Just drag your MCRAWs into MotionCam Tools. They will be mounted in a virtual volume under your default mount location as DNG image sequences. To find them, right-click on a clip, then click on Open Folder. Here are all the DNGs that make up this particular clip, and I can navigate to the top level of the mounted volume to see them all. For the best RAW workflow, I recommend DaVinci Resolve, which offers both a free and paid studio version. Launch Resolve, create a new project, then open the media page. I'll create a new bin called MCRAW, then I'll return to MotionCam Tools. Select your clips, then right-click on them and choose Send to Resolve Studio. Your clips are imported into Resolve and instantly ready for editing. You just need to keep MotionCam Tools open while you work. In Resolve, I'll switch to the Edit page, select all my clips, right-click and choose Create New Timeline using selected clips. I can deselect Use Project Settings and change the resolution to match my full sensor recording, then click Create. Now let's learn how to grade our RAW video so it's ready for export. Click to open the Color page in Resolve. Select a clip, then click to open the Camera Raw tools. We want to change our decode using from Project to Clip, which unlocks all Camera Raw tools. You can see our color space and gamma are set to Blackmagic because we previously chose this as the camera model override under MotionCam Tools settings. The simplest way to start working with this footage is to use the manufacturer's log to Rec 709 LUT, and in this case we would use Blackmagic's because we are treating our video as Blackmagic Film. DaVinci Resolve already includes BMD's official Rec 709 LUT under the LUT picker, and I can drag that onto a node. As you can see, it doesn't quite get us all the way there, but we are at least in the Rec 709 ballpark. From here I can use the Camera Raw tools to adjust exposure, contrast and saturation until I arrive at something I'm happy with. And because this is RAW, I can even enable highlight recovery and get my clipped highlights back in the sky. That's the simplest workflow. Another common workflow, and my preferred one, is to use a color space transform to convert the color space and gamma into another for grading. For example, I'm not a big fan of Blackmagic's Rec. 709 LUTs, but I do love the official ARRI K1S1 LUT. However, if I apply it, it doesn't look right because we are applying a LUT designed for ARRI Log C in ARRI Wide Gamut to Blackmagic Design Film in Blackmagic Wide Gamut 4.5. I'll disable the LUT node for now and press Shift S to add a new node before my LUT node. Then from Effects, I'll drag the color space transform onto it. Then I set my input color space and gamma to match my camera raw color space and gamma. And instantly it has converted our footage to Rec. 709. You could tweak contrast and saturation and hit export. However, next I'm going to set up a new output color space and gamma to convert it to ARRI Log C3 and ARRI Wide Gamut 3. We have just converted from one log profile to another. Now I'll enable the ARRI LUT and we get a much better starting point for further adjustments under Camera Raw. Now you know how to use MotionCam Pro's core functionality, as well as basic workflows for editing and grading MCRAW files both on device and on desktop. Let's dive back into MotionCam Pro and I'll show you how to master direct log mode. From the mode picker, switch from RAW video to direct log. Direct log delivers the imaging benefits of RAW, utilizing the same stream to bypass your phone's aggressive image signal processing, while producing an edit-ready file in your chosen format and log profile, smaller than .mcraw and immediately compatible with all editing applications. The trade-off, as noted earlier, direct log is more processor intensive than RAW video mode. Frame rates above 30 FPS will cause dropped frames on most devices. If this happens, reduce bitrate or resolution. Also bear in mind that direct log encoding is a permanent commitment. The raw data is discarded and the encoded settings are irreversible. Unlike MCRAW, you cannot adjust the output after the fact. In direct log mode, a unique settings bar appears along the top of the interface showing your current codec, bitrate, transfer function, and active LUT if one is applied. Let's start by setting our record format. Tap the format picker, then on video codec. Available options include H.264, HEVC in 8-bit and 10-bit, ProRes, and APV on compatible devices including the Samsung S26 Ultra, Vivo X300 Ultra, and Xiaomi 17 Ultra. Codecs with hardware acceleration will offer the best performance. ProRes is software encoded, which is more demanding but available on any device. I'll choose HEVC 10-bit. Next, scroll down to set your bitrate. I'll set this to 100 megabits per second. Next, let's set our color space and transfer function. The default is BT709, the standard for HD video, delivering a ready-to-share image with good contrast and saturation. To shoot in log for grading flexibility, either tap the color space label at the top or swipe to open the Quick Adjust panel, which automatically switches to direct preview while open for accurate monitoring. Under output, for color space I'll choose ARRI Wide Gamut 3, and for transfer function, I'll select ARRI Log C3. There is no best setting. Often you'll choose a color space and transfer function to match your primary camera or choose them based on the LUTs you plan to use. The transfer function and color space are automatically appended to your output file name, so you'll always know what you captured in. I'm choosing ARRI Log C just so I can use either the ARRI K1S1 LUT we looked at previously in DaVinci Resolve or Filmbox Pro Film Emulation. Then I'll swipe to close the Quick Adjust panel. All camera controls, focus, exposure, and white balance work exactly as they did in RAW video mode. The capture experience is identical. Of course, in direct log, you do not have the luxury of being able to restore clipped channels like you do with RAW video, so pay extra close attention to the histogram and use the clipping overlay to ensure you are not clipping your highlights. Direct log files are saved to DSIM, MotionCam Pro, separate from .mcraw files which live in Documents, MotionCam Pro. To review your last clip, tap the thumbnail in the corner. To browse all direct log captures, use your phone's Files app. For ProRes playback on device, download the free VLC app. Because we chose a specific log profile at capture, grading direct log video is straightforward. It can be as simple as applying the matching manufacturer LUT and you're done. For example, for ARRI log C, just apply the official ARRI Rec 709 LUT, which comes pre-installed in DaVinci Resolve and is also available for download from ARRI's website. You can perform this on device in an app like Unmcrawsome or the editing app LumaFusion, or in any desktop-based NLE like Final Cut, Premiere, or DaVinci Resolve. In this chapter, I want to show you how to search for hidden lenses and unsupported frame rates which may be missing by default, yet fully supported on your device. The reason either is missing may be because they do not actually work, or they do work and have not been reported correctly as being available. But the beauty of MotionCam Pro is you can test and verify this for yourself. Let's start with searching for hidden lenses. And the perfect example to demonstrate this is on my Vivo X300 Ultra, because by default the telephoto lens is completely missing despite it working perfectly. Open Settings, scroll down to Advanced, and enable Search for Hidden Lenses, then Rescan. Now scroll up to Camera and tap on it. And you can see we have many more lenses here. In fact, we get duplicate entries for the same 89mm tele lens, like 89 10/9 and 89mm 2/5, and then just 89mm 5. What's going on here? Well, a single value 5 indicates a physical lens ID, and those that use a fraction, like 10/9, are logical IDs. Let's return to the camera and tap on the lens picker. Next to the 89mm tele lens which now appears, tap on Profiles. This will list all the 89mm lens profiles including our logical and physical lenses. And now all I need to do is to test to see which works and which can be removed. I'll apply the 89mm physical lens ID 9. Obviously there is a problem, it's upside down, so I'll make a note to delete that. Next I'll try the logical 10/9, same issue, we'll remove that too. Let's try logical 2/5. That actually fails completely, so that needs to go. And lucky last, let's try physical 5, and hey presto, I have a working tele lens. To remove the others, tap to open Settings, Camera, and then tap the 3 dots next to all the broken 89mm lens options, and then tap Delete to remove. Now, let's look at how to access unsupported frame rates like 25 FPS for PAL capture. Open Settings and scroll down to Advanced, then enable Show Other Frame Rates. Then return to the main camera interface. Tap on your frame rate. All officially supported frame rates are up top in white, but if you scroll down, you will get to the unsupported frame rates in yellow. Tap to apply one like 25 FPS. If I start a recording, we can see that it actually does work nicely and hits the target frame rate. You can use this same method to test high-speed frame rates like 50 and 60 FPS on your device. One of MotionCam Pro V5's most powerful features is the ability to export and import custom lens profiles and settings, which makes it easy to unlock incredible features like dual conversion gain via something called opcodes on certain models of Android like the Vivo X300 Ultra. For example, in the pinned comment you'll find a link to a lens profile which was created by members of the MotionCam Pro community that unlocks DCG on all 3 lenses on the Vivo X300 Ultra. Simply download it to your phone. Importing it is easy. In MotionCam Pro, first, start by searching for hidden lenses under Settings, Advanced, like we did in the previous chapter. Then tap Import Settings at the bottom here. Navigate to your lens profile zip and tap to import. And instantly you have the relevant lens profiles available that unlock features like DCG and ISZ or in-sensor zoom available in your lens picker. You now have everything you need to start filming in RAW and direct log in MotionCam Pro version 5. Of course, MotionCam Pro delivers so much more than can be covered in a beginner's guide. Download the official user manual and join the official MotionCam Discord, linked in the pinned comment, to keep learning, access betas, and get support from the community. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.